The UK has a new Prime Minister once again, the third in the last 50 days. Former Treasury Chief Rishi Sunak has been chosen by the Conservative Party to lead the country. It's hoped that Sunak will be a safe pair of hands to guide the country at a time of economic turbulence.
Right now, our country is facing a profound economic crisis. The aftermath of COVID still lingers. Putin's war in Ukraine has destabilized energy markets and supply chains the world over.
The challenges Sunak faces are seemingly on every front. The inflation rate in the UK now exceeds 10%, a 40-year high, and also the highest of any G7 country. One of the biggest decisions Sunak has to take is whether to uprate benefits in line with inflation. Most of the centrists within the party believe this is essential. The Treasury is facing a $46 billion black hole, and the interim Chancellor Jeremy Hunt is working on a plan to make the sums add up by November the 17th. The national health system is heading into winter, facing the twin threats of COVID-19 and the flu season. The new government will have demoralized staff and long waits for operations, GP appointments, and A&E services. But businesses and investors cautiously welcome the news of his victory. The pound moved in and out of the red against the US dollar. The sterling reached a 6-week high as Sunak became the Prime Minister. Yields on benchmark 10-year UK bonds, which move opposite prices, fell to 3.76%, and the FTSE 250 index of mid-sized UK companies gained 1.1%. Sunak, who backed splitting from the EU in 2016, will now also have to deal with the thorny issue of post-Brexit trade rules in Northern Ireland. The ongoing war in Ukraine, the post-pandemic recovery, immigration concerns, and also an inquiry into Boris Johnson's Partygate scandal are all on the long list of worries the new Prime Minister will have to contend with. Political analysts say his predecessor's failures are Sunak's biggest asset. But it will definitely test the political skills of a leader who has been involved in national politics for only 7 years. Tulay Kalyon Haznedaroglu, TRT World.
Well, for more, let's go to Taha Arvas, an economist and adjunct professor of finance at Istanbul's Boğaziçi University. He joins us now from Tashkent in Uzbekistan. Great to have you back with us as always, Taha. Rishi Sunak really is inheriting a UK economy that's in somewhat of a crisis. Inflation, as we heard there, is at around 10%. We've also got soaring energy prices leading into winter, and the country is having to contend with continuing to pull out of the European Union. Where should Sunak even begin? What should he prioritise?
The first thing he needs to do really is just focus on stability. The message is as important as the actions he takes. And what he has to say is, listen, Liz Truss came up with some controversial policy mistakes. She tried to execute some controversial policy mistakes. We're not going to do that. We're not going to make radical changes in the middle of this, really, the recession that not only the UK is in, but the broader Europe is currently in, and there's a global recession coming as well. So as long as he prioritizes stability and repeats that we're not going to change things as they are, then we'll see a further strengthening in the UK currency, which should lead to relative price stability. So that's what he really has to prioritize.
So when Rishi Sunak's government eventually does release its financial plans, it's expected to announce tax hikes as well as cuts to government spending. So that's the complete opposite of what Liz Truss had proposed, which, as we know, tanked financial markets. Do you think that's enough, that raising taxes and cutting spending will get the economy back on track?
So the thing is, those steps will help stabilize, or will help at least temporarily stabilize financial markets' confidence in UK markets. But the problem is, you're not answering to just financial markets. You're answering to a public in which the Conservative Party, where the Tories are down significantly after their win a couple of years ago. And so will they be able to govern until 2025? That's the real question. Many believe that they won't be able to do that. So, yeah, and to see a conservative government talk about hiking interest rates, hiking taxes while sobering for many on the left, it's really not something that their base wants to do. So you're going to see Sunak attacked from the right and the left. So it's going to be a very difficult tenure he has here, and let's see how long he lasts.
And Rishi Sunak, while he is Prime Minister, will need to strike this balance between meeting both the market's demand for strict fiscal discipline as well as avoiding hurting those most in need from those policies. Can he achieve both?
I don't think he can, frankly, and I don't think he necessarily wants to. Or this is the man who was quoted in an interview, which you can look up anywhere. Watch it tonight if you want, where he says, "I don't have any poor friends," which is ridiculous in and of itself. But to repeat it and do so without a negative tone, without any irony, is ridiculous. Like I said, so this is a man who's now governing the United Kingdom, where he has to. He's a prime minister of everyone, including the poor, the less fortunate. So I don't think that's in his wheelhouse. I don't think that's what he's trying to do. These people aren't his electorate. Excuse me. These people aren't his base anyway. So will he do that? Will he help the poorest, the most vulnerable Britons come out of this crisis? I think he might try, but like I said, I don't think that's something. That's not his main goal. His main goal is to appease those who brought him to power. He didn't change his finance minister. He brought back his home secretary. This is just a conservative government that's continuing with the Boris Johnson Liz Truss methods, unfortunately. And so his goal isn't to win a general election now, because he's not going to call one until 2025. So just to stay in power as long as he can.
Okay, Taha Arvas, we'll have to leave it there, but really good to get your analysis as always. Thank you.
My pleasure.